Good morning. Welcome to frigid southern Michigan, northwest Ohio. It's 2 degrees outside currently. It was 0.9 for a low this morning, so we're on the upswing, I guess, but it's cold, although not as windy today as it has been, and the sun is shining, so it won't be so terrible. So we've got to go up to the John Deere dealer, grab our filters and stuff for the sprayer that for some reason we don't have on the shelf, which I'm not real happy with myself for not having those, but it is what it is. Not that big a deal. It's January. We got time. We can go get them. Yeah, Xander is not feeling the best today, so he is not coming today, which is fine. So we'll go get our stuff. We'll go check in with Dad out here in the barn, and then we'll maybe do some work on that sprayer this afternoon. That box is heavy, and there's the big ones. $1,100 worth of filters later, we got what we need. Could have saved, I don't know, 10, 12, 20%, whatever it is. I would have got them during their sale, but I forgot. Service manager wasn't in his office, but let's just go see if the 8R has moved from where I parked it. It has. It is no longer sitting where I parked it. So it must be in the shop. Or maybe it's that one right there. No, that's not ours, is it? No, that's not ours. So it must be in the shop. That's good. Means they're working on it. Well, today's going to be another one of those days where you guys don't get a video from me, and you'll roll it into tomorrow because I've been working on the computer all afternoon. That's just kind of how it goes in January. It's cold outside. I don't want to do anything out there. I'm trying to leave the shop work to have something for Xander to do when he's here and not do it all myself, which it translates to me being lazy. Yeah. And, well, I have lots of tax work and other paperwork stuff that needs to get done, so that's what I've been working on. But I'm going to go out to the barn and see how Dad's doing on his little project out there, and then we'll see. I'm probably going home. So he's making some progress out here. He's putting some new beams in. Basically, we're replacing this old one here and going to raise the floor height up. So he's got some new boards going across. And then he's kind of doubling up the one with notched that post so that it's actually holding, the post is sitting on the board rather than just nailed to it, you know. He's getting a bunch more ready. A nice board here, that's in there, and put new posts in. And then he's gonna make eye joists for the floor. On top of it, I'll show you that here later, but he's cutting his boards over here, getting stuff ready. Well, good morning again. Day 2 of this video. It's still cold out, a little snowy today. It's not as cold as yesterday, but it's not warm, so. Xander's not here again today. He must still be sick, so probably not going to do much in the shop here. Just talking to Dad a little bit. We got some trash pile out back by the woods, some of that stuff that he's cleaned out of the barn there. Some scrap wood and stuff that he said we should get burnt up today. So I think I'm going to take the tractor, head down to the seed warehouse. I got some snow piled up in front of the big door there that I need to get out of the way because I got some seed trucks coming in a couple of days. We'll haul some trash back to the woods and start a big fire. It's not much, but there's a pretty good drift right here in front of the door that it would be nice to not have there. Catch the edge of my concrete. I also don't really want to push it all into the grass, so we're just going to pile it on the edge of the concrete. Plenty of stones in there to not need that in the grass. Mostly better to shovel some by hand, but yeah, we got a little pile over there. Oh, he was not kidding. He's got a pile of stuff that he tore out of that barn. All right, we're gonna get a real big fire. Cool. You know, he's got some bags there, seed bags that got some straw in them, so that seemed like as good a spot as any to start a fire. See if it actually gets going and we can catch this pile of wood on fire. This is mostly that flooring, I think, that he tore out. Racks, whatever. It's all gonna burn. Well, I got that to take off real fast. I moved that bag over here and kind of tucked it in underneath where I kind of smothered it, but maybe it will catch something else on fire. She's gonna go. We're good. Watch her burn. Some people would tell me that I should just haul that all to a landfill and let it sit in the landfill for eternity. I don't understand that. Just burn it and it's gone. If you're one of those people, fine, but this is how we get rid of trash here. Since it's a slow winter day and I need some content, let's do a little stuff on the computer. I've never done any kind of trials recap video or anything from some of the different side-by-sides that we had this last year, so we'll look at a few of those. I've looked at a couple of these and a lot of them that I think we can look at together, and I haven't, and we'll see what we've come up with. So let's see if I can figure out how to screen record. And this is a hard video to make. That's why I don't like doing it, because I got to screen record and I got to sync everything, and we'll try and set up my phone here so that I can at least get audio into the computer as well. And yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, well, we'll start off with this one. So this is a field right across the road from our farm here. You can see the farm right here. So this is a field that was corn this year, and I had in it our high management standard practice trial. I've done this trial for the last several years where we are basically taking two hybrids, split planter, and throwing everything we can at it, you know, from a management standpoint as far as fungicides and nitrogen and foliars and whatever else. And I didn't do as much this year as I've done in the past because I didn't have as much stuff that I was doing everything else. But we can nevertheless see the results. So on the left here, we have our yield map. On the right, we have a spray application map. This was from our V5 fungicide. Let's see, what all was in that mix? We can find that out. We had Architects, fungicide, boron, Roundup, a water conditioner, another, I don't even know what you call that, Soltellus product, our Source DC, a sugar product, water, and some zinc. We've had a lot of stuff in there. And you can see, if we go back to the data analysis, now that was not the only difference. We also did tassel fungicide versus not, and all kinds of stuff. But we didn't see a ton this year. So if you look over here in the subfield, the 20, which is the target rate for the yellow area over here, was 199. The unavailable was 195. That's not what we hope to see, right? We hope to see something quite a bit more than that for as much money as it cost us. Now, what I think happened this year is we got really dry late, and a lot of the added stuff that we put on didn't pay because we just couldn't finish. If we would have had more rain later, then it would have been able to take advantage of that a little bit better. But we didn't have it. So let's see if we can figure out how to separate this out by hybrid a little bit. So we're going to shrink our box down to just the high management side of it. Maybe. I'm going to refresh. No. Okay. What did I do? Okay, I want to go into seeding, varieties, pull that map. Okay. So now we're going to highlight out let's go right here. So the stripes over here are different varieties. We had 103 and 105 day. This should be the high management section of it. So in the subfield, they were basically the same. 105 was a bushel better than the 103. Now if I pick that box up and move it up to the untreated areas, see what we get for a comparison there. Trying to see if there was a bigger spread between one of those hybrids than the other one. 191 on the 105 day, so that was a 9 bushel win there. 196 on 103, so only a 3 bushel win there. So that does show a little bit more. So the 105 day it responded to the management more so than the 103 day. Make sense? Okay. Let's move on to another field. Overall, I mean, we definitely did not make money on that trial, as much money as we had invested into it. So we've already seen this one. I showed this this fall one day, but I will go over it again right now because it was a pretty good trial. Can I switch to that field? 2-1. Okay, it's a wheat field now. Soybeans. This was a soybean yield map. Field averaged 63, which is not too bad. We're going to pull up a compare map, and I want soybean varieties. We didn't actually have two varieties out here. What we did was had a different seed treatment. This one had this heads up in the blue versus no heads up on the yellow areas. And so I was testing whether or not the heads up does anything for us. That is a seed treatment that I add for white mold purposes. And was interested to see what kind of yield difference that we could see from it. Now, we didn't get much white mold this past year, but it also has activity against SDS and several other things that we must have seen a little bit from, because as you look here on the whole field, where we had the heads up, it was 65. Where we didn't, it was 61. That's a win. Now, that's not fair though, because look at all this yellow that's along the trees and the perimeter and everything. So hold on, let's take some of that out of the analysis here. So let's start with a box kind of right here. I should have slid over a little bit. That's okay. So the yellow is untreated, the blue is treated. Right here we saw a 2 bushel win. Okay, let's move our box. We're going to go over here, but we're going to shrink it down to get away from those trees. Come on, John Deere, being slow today. Subfield, 61 versus 60. Not a huge win, but still a win. How about over here? $61 versus 60, so still had pretty good performance there. Overall, I was pretty happy with it. I thought it did I thought it did a good job for us. This area over here, this area of the field, the green spots are the areas that typically get the worst white mold. So that's why I'm trying to compare over in that area. So there's also, yeah, see, this one's not a fair comparison either, because this is a field where we used to have, all right, let's dig a little deeper here because we're into this. So this field used to have we farmed part of it for 40 years, 45 years. And then about 15 years ago now, we started farming the rest of it, and it had been CRP before. So you can almost see how there's more orange down in this corner. That's the part that we've been farming for a lot longer. And then kind of right here, it was CRP for years and years and years, and we just started farming it. Let me go back to a yield map from, let's say, 2014. Yeah, 14 maybe. We can get rid of this. No, that's not what I wanted. Go back. Push the wrong button. All right, let's look at 2014 corn yield map. Yeah, look at that. You can see it exactly where we used to farm and where we didn't. Let's go to a 2013 yield map. There's the old part of the farm. And then we go to 14, and you can see it, how much that shows up. We go to 15, soybeans, it's still there. Oops. 16, why does that say harvest wheat? Oh, there's just a little sliver from the field next to it. Corn. Corn yield map, it was still there. Now this one we must have had some split planter or something, because something was going on there. That's interesting. Anyway, point being, when we're comparing trial stuff on there from this past year, it's still in effect, and you cannot compare across this line. You have to be on this side of it or the other side of it. Otherwise, your data is no good. So, okay, let's move on. Where else did we have some trials? Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Do I have anything? Oh, yeah, we had some variety stuff up in this field. There's my gypsum application map. Corn harvest. Field average 195. Obviously, there was a lot of edges that brought that down, but we had some variety stuff in here. So let's take a look at that. We'll pull the corn varieties map. So if we just look at the whole field, obviously we had a lot more of this green variety than we had anything else. That's my 111 day. 195, 193, 203, 192. So that would tell you that the 10U97, which is the blue over here, yielded way better than everything else. There's probably more to that story though. So let's zoom in here on just that section of the field a little bit and actually start comparing some stuff. So let's pull oh, I gotta click on it on this side probably. Okay. No, why isn't that letting me? Oh, just click points. Sorry, I was trying to drag a box. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get out of here. Do it this way. There. Let's compare the green and the yellow. Green is an established 111-day corn that I love. The yellow is a new 110-day. How did we do? Come on. There we go. So 210 for the green, 205 for the yellow. That's a win for the old one. All right, let's go over here to where we did some split planter stuff. We'll shrink our box down and look at the blue and the purple. The blue and the purple are the same hybrid, one with an added seed treatment, one without an added seed treatment, called the Pivio Energy. And it is designed to, I don't know, it's supposed to help the plant's early season vigor, get off to a better start, all that kind of stuff. And we see that the Apivio was 210, the non-Apivio was 212. I did not see any positive results from that seed treatment. There was a couple of places where we had that I did not see positive results. So, yeah, there's kind of that trial. You can compare the 110-day with and without the treatment to the new 110-day. I don't know if it's quite a fair analysis because it wasn't identical, but it's still data. Come on. 209 for the Apivio, 212 for the 10U without Apivio, 204 for the new 110M. Needless to say, I didn't sell any 10M this year. It was not impressive. Okay, let's find a new one. Exit out of there. We'll go up and look at the irrigated field because that's a popular one. Field analyzer. And harvest corn. Okay. So here's a couple of things jump out. One, look at right here. There's a fine break right there. That's variety. That is a variety change right there. There's another variety change down here. It's not as sharp of a difference, but it is there. But then you see these. Look at this. That's our check strip. Right here you can see our backbone where we kind of ran over some corn. Obviously we lost a little bit, but not terrible. Let's start with zooming in up here on our check strips. And I've probably shown this at some point as well, but now I don't have a map to compare to. Obviously we don't have any comparison or application map from the irrigation. But what we can do is highlight out those 3 planter or combine passes. So this is the sand ridge. If you zoom out and look at this field, you can definitely see there's a sand ridge runs right across here. That's why we irrigate that field. Comes all the way across here, really. This is more heavy ground, okay? So we're going to focus on the sand ridge for right now. Inside that 0.6 of an acre, the yield was 106 bushels to the acre. 106. Now that did not get watered. Let's just move this down right here. This is the 24 rows immediately adjacent to where we did not water. 193. 193. So 193 minus 106 is an 87 bushel difference right there. That's pretty good. That's really good. Now let's go. We've got another strip up here. Now this one was not quite as sandy, but still lighter ground. Let's see what it did there where it didn't get irrigated. Total yield 93. Really? Oh no, that's 93 bushels. 150. Yield averaged 150. 93 bushel off that strip. Okay, what did we get right next to it? Could go along the road, but that's not really fair, so we'll leave the road off of it. 203, so that's a 53 bushel increase in that spot. Okay, we've got another check strip where this one pass, we essentially went all the way through on this pass. Neither side got watered, but this is the heavy ground, right? This is much different soil than this. We didn't see near as big of a difference. Subfield yield 196. That's in the non-irrigated, which is pretty good. Drop down to the irrigated right next to it. 236. So that's 40 bushel difference. So we had 40, 56, and 87 bushel difference from the water. That'll pay, guys. That will pay. Did the whole field yield what I had hoped it would? No, it didn't, but we were just too dry. If we would have caught some rain there at the end of the summer, that would have made a whole lot of difference for us. So let's pull out some varieties here. We'll do a compare, seeding. Let's look at a couple different things here. Let's look at varieties to start with. Data analysis. Come on. Okay, so 14B went 212, 12U11 went 257, 11V went 245. Yep, that's significant. But let's just look at some blocks or some areas of the field rather than taking into account the ends and everything else. So we'll see, this is the 14B versus the 11V here. Speaking of which, this is where we had our NCGA entry. We'll see if I can't pull that up on the other monitor here while we're looking at this. NCGA yield contest. Okay. So we had 245 versus 272 in those strips. That's all really good corn. Let's go down here. We'll just shrink that. There. Let's go a little more. Get it out of those underrows. Come on. All right, so 12U went 273, 11V went 267. I love both of those hybrids. That's really good. Let's go over here onto some of the heavier ground, though. We'll shrink this up, get away from the edge. How do we do there? Okay, 249 versus 246. So the 11V actually was a little bit better in the, the lighter ground, the lower yielder environment. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Now, I want to see, we can also, instead of looking at varieties here, we can look at things like target rate, planting rates. So I did a lot of variable rate up there. I guess not all that much, but I'd be interested to see, and I just want to look at the whole field here and see what's the difference in our planting zone. So the yellow area I planted at 38,000, the blue at 36,000, the purple at 34,000. So how did that work out yield-wise? Well, the 38,000 averaged 255, the 36,000 went 231, and the 34,000 went 179. Probably could have backed farther down on the purple areas, but that's why we push those other areas, because they have the potential to yield really well. And a little bit more rain, they would have been even better than that. So that's interesting. That's interesting. And you can kind of see how this yield map here, or this prescription map, follows the yield map here. There's a little draw, a little bit more moisture holding capacity through there. That was the higher planting rate zone. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to drag this tab over here so you guys can see this. This is the NCGA results for the state of Michigan. Here is Class I, conventional irrigated. You can see the state winner was at 327 bushels to the acre. Really good. Had 3 of them that broke 300. I am right down here. That's not horrible. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a top 10 finish in my class for the state at 12U11. We pulled the strip off of there at 283.9981. Just barely lost to the guy in 9th place, but pretty happy with that result. Pretty impressive corn there. I did have another one down here, right here at 273. So yeah, not too bad. Anyway, let's get back to looking at stuff. Let me pause this and we'll come back after I find another field. All right, here's another field. So we've come down to Berkey. This is a cornfield where I had some trial units. I actually had a competitive corn hybrid in here. It's the purple strip in the middle, and that had 102-day and 103-day golden harvest number. Now, and I was talking to the guy that was the rep for this competitive company. I told him I was putting 102, 103-day, and I would try some of his stuff in between them, and he brought me 112-day corn. 62 is 112-day. So not a fair comparison on the maturity side being 10 days for season corn, but nevertheless, we planted it there. And if we look inside the box there, the competitive one went to 20, the 103-day was 219, the 102-day was 220. So they were essentially identical. However, something to note there was look at this stuff over here. The moisture, 102-day was 20% moisture, 103 was 23% moisture, and 112 was 25% moisture. These two both were wetter than they should have been, or at least this one was wetter than it should have been. This one you probably expect that with 112-day, but you didn't get the yield to make up for it. So, it's hard to plant that 112-day corn when you've got that kind of stuff there. So another interesting thing to note in this field, you'll notice this red streak right here. I am pretty sure that's where I ran out of anhydrous in my tanks and didn't catch it quite in time. We were putting anhydrous on and the tank ran empty, and by the time I caught it and changed tanks, I missed a little strip there, and so I left that out of the analysis intentionally because that would affect things. So you can also, looking at the field next to it, kind of see that there's a soil type change that comes right across here, and that's what causes this break here. So I kind of left that out of the analysis as well because, well, that's not really a fair thing. So yeah, interesting there. Let's see if we can't find a wheat field. Did I have any wheat field trials on them this year? I'd have something, didn't we? Well, I'm not finding much in the wheat trial department, but I did find this field here with this application map. This was a flag leaf fungicide application. Let's see, what did that entail? This was sprayed on May 10th and was my Aquil XL, which is a generic Aquil XL. A quart of boron, and then my Source XC for wheat. And we just had this one like partial pass in the middle of the field that he did not spray. And so I thought, well, maybe we can see something from there. And if you look inside that box, it was 123 versus 126. So that pass gained us 3 bushels on the wheat. Is that worth it? I don't know if it was. It helps, but you got to see a little bit more than that to make it worth making the trip sometimes. So probably a break even there, or I'd have to figure out the cost on it exactly, but not exactly a home run win. So anyway, we didn't see a lot there. This field here, though, does remind me that I can show you some cool thing that we have that I'm planning on using a little bit more next year, called Auto Path Boundaries. So if I go to the Land tab and we pull up that field, is that just going to pull up that field? Probably not. 21. So that's the same field we were just looking at. And you can see the pink line, that's the boundary. The blue lines are my old guidance lines. But what I'm going to do this year is something called Auto Path Boundaries. And I did this earlier today, where basically it uses the boundaries and automatically creates all the guidance lines for the entire field before we ever go to the field. So I can pull in there, pull on any one of these lines, and it will automatically have me in the right spot. The red line is the side of the field that it's going to start from, that's where we normally start. So I think that is really cool, and it's a big reason why we are remapping all these boundaries, because if my boundaries aren't right, then these lines aren't in the right spot either. Makes sense? So yeah, we're going to try and do some more of that, but we got to get rid of our snow first. So anyway, I think that's all I've got for you on here for today. If there's something else specific that you remember me doing and you want me to look into, leave a comment and I'll try and do that sometime, or remember to do it. But yeah, not as much trial work last year as I've done in the past. Kind of cut back on that a little bit. We'll probably do more of it again this year. Talking to my seed agronomist and some of those people about some more trial work and stuff. We might have a little bit bigger field day event thing sometime this summer, so we need to get some better field trial stuff planned and in place. So working on that a little bit, but we'll see what else we can find to test. We got another company that wants me to do a biological thing or something, so we'll probably do that at some point as well. But yeah, there you go. So probably not the most exciting video, but hey, it's better than no content, right? So hopefully we'll be back to actually working on something here soon. I guess if Xander's going to be sick this week, maybe I'll have to work on the sprayer myself. But we're kind of through a lot of the equipment. I feel like we're ahead of the schedule. I'm not really ready to bring a planter into the shop, and I'm trying to save stuff for Xander to do. So I've been spending a little time on the computer and working through this kind of stuff, and it doesn't make very good content. But I need to go down and see if I can't find a engine block for a Farmall F12. Maybe we can work on that project a little bit this winter. That would be fun, wouldn't it? So anyway, thanks for watching this one. If you have any questions and comments, leave them down below. And make sure you're subscribed. And we'll see you tomorrow. Probably. Maybe.